So since we're still in the early access period of the Midnight expansion and there's not a lot of ways to get a lot of good gear in the end game, pretty much everybody that's already completed the main campaign on their main character is now looking for ways to level up their ults much more quickly, or also make their ults much stronger to level up more quickly. So in this video, I want to go over 2 small tips that can give you some pretty strong gear once you've hit level 81 and above to make that leveling experience much quicker and much more smooth. And you'll have pretty much everything you need to get these items just doing the main campaign on your main character. Now, the first and easier part of this is you can get 4 level 180 item level pieces of gear for all of your ult for doing basically nothing past doing the main campaign on your main, and these are going to be through the Renown. So if you go into the Renowns and you look at rank 2 for all 4 of the different factions, they will give you a different piece of gear that you can wear at level 81 that you can go purchase from these vendors, and this gear is at 180 eye level. Now that is very good for level 81. Keep in mind that at max level right now, the main gear you're going to be able to get is like 220 item level. You're not going to really be going much above that right now. So 180 item level at level 81 is pretty crazy. So from the Amani, you can get a necklace that also does come with a socket in it. So if you want to get a gem and put in it some cheap gem, you could do that. Then with the Singularity or the people in the Void Storm, it doesn't actually say this, but this still works in the exact same way. You can get a pair of gloves. Then if you go to the Heron Deer, you can get a belt. And then finally with the Silver Moon Court, you can get a helmet. So you can get those 4 pieces of gear at 180 item level basically for free. You'll get Renown 2 very early on in the main campaign, and these pieces of gear only cost 25 of the Void Light Marls, which is like one of the main currencies you use at these vendors in this expansion. So they're basically free because 25 is basically nothing, and no matter what character you're on, it will have armor for that character. So you're not going to go on like a warrior in an old cloth armor or something. Whatever character you're on, it will give you the correct armor for that character. So that's 4 pieces of 180 item level gear you can pick up and wear at level 81, but you can also get additional pieces if you want to spend a bit of gold. And the second way you can also get some pretty high item level gear that you can start to wear at level 81 is to spend some gold and get it off of the auction house. But before you do this, go and make some characters on some of the much more high population realms. So just go to like population and just make some characters on the highest population servers and go check the auction houses on those servers. They'll have a lot lower prices and a lot more options to do this. You don't want to be doing this if you're playing on like a low population server, and you can just freely transfer the gold and these items through your warband banks. So it's not much difficulty to do that. But what you're going to do is you're just going to go into the auction house, go into whatever items you're looking for. So let's say I'm looking for plate armor, and then you're just going to type in 80 to 81 level range and type search. Then you're going to filter for highest item level. Now the one thing can mess you up and make you spend a lot of gold for useless items is you have to click into these items and then scroll over the actual listings, because the actual listings can be different item levels. And this is especially true for random world drop things. So the category list itself has a 192 item level piece that a level 80 could wear, but there's actually none of those offered in these listings. There's different item levels for different levels of greens because these are just random world drops. And through a lot of the green categories, you won't find stuff. And through a lot of these categories, you won't actually end up finding good stuff, especially in the green categories. Now in these green categories, there can still be blues, but they can also just be much higher level. And one of the easier things you can look for is some of these different pieces of blue gear, like these Evercore pieces. I think these Evercore pieces are crafted pieces, but these are 178 item level. These can be worn at level 81, and 178 item level 81 is also really strong. Then there's some lower crafted ones of this same thing that's 171 item level. These are much cheaper. 171 item level for like 300 gold, definitely worth a pickup. If you get like a full set of 171 at level 81, your character is going to be incredibly strong for a while. But you can also just keep looking through all of these greens if you want to, look if you find anything. But then there are more of these items at the bottom. These are the random world drop blues as well. Some of these will also be crafted and some of these will be random world drops, but there are just a bunch of other 171 items here. There's some that require certain professions, like this one specifically for engineering, but then these items down here require level 81. They're 171 item levels, so again, you could go pick up like a full set of these and you would have quite good stats. Now, I don't know how common it is to get these high item level greens at lower levels. I think I've seen a few of these world drop BOEs that are much higher item level that lower levels can still equip. I'm not exactly sure how you get those, but it's possible and maybe you could pick up a cheap one. But outside of that, I'd recommend picking up a bunch of these blues. Some of these blues, again, are 171 or even slightly lower item level, and it can get quite cheap, especially if you're on a populated server. So just going and getting those 4 180 item level pieces from the Renown vendors, and then maybe spending a few thousand gold on a bunch of these 171 or higher item level blues can just make your character ridiculously strong early on in the leveling process, and will definitely make those first handful of levels just much faster because you'll just be killing things so ridiculously quick. And I'm also going to be having another video right after this one that goes over how you can essentially skip level 88 to 90. So at the highest levels where you would be the less geared, you can also skip. So using this method and then using that method I'm going over in a future video will definitely make your leveling process much faster. So I definitely recommend going and picking up at least the items from the Renown vendors on every new character you want to level up. That'll just make leveling much more quickly, and depending on how much gold you want to spend, you can get even more geared. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.